Hello and welcome to Acupuncture Storytime number 3. I am your host, Daniel Rose, and am delighted that you're choosing to listen to the Acupuncture Storytime podcast. So the last 2 stories we had were very herbal medicine based, and that's because I like herbal medicine better personally. I find it more interesting than acupuncture. Those are my favorite cases. But acupuncture also deserves love, does amazing things. So let's do a case. It's all acupuncture. And I want to share a clinical tool that I found particularly useful that you may find particularly useful too. And that tool is using the point MingHuang from the Master Deng lineage of acupuncture diagnostically. So let's get into the case. It was a woman in her 30s who was postpartum with knee pain, and she wanted to go on the floor and crawl around with her new baby and her other young kids, and her knee pain was preventing that. The pain was kind of center under the patella and also medial on the inside of the knees. And the most other significant thing about intake with her was that she had a very wiry pulse, which suggests stress, and she reported that she was feeling very high stress as well. So the interesting thing about that is that stress in Chinese medicine is connected with the liver channel, and the liver channel runs on the medial aspect of the leg through the knees and through the center of the knees as well. So personally, I always treat the liver channel with knee pain. I never do knee pain, well, almost never do knee pain without using liver 3. But in this case, I was suspicious about blood flow coming through to the knees, because when you have pain, you got to understand, where's the pain coming from? Is it coming from the muscles are too tight and tense? Is there another muscle pulling somewhere? Is there nerve damage? Is there a lack of blood flow and hypoxia that's happening? Because sometimes you get pain that comes if there's poor blood flow and there's not enough oxygen going to the nerves and they get cranky. And so while she was on the table, I palpated and the MingHuang points. So those points are a Master Deng acupuncture. They are, if you don't know, they're located, it's 3 points. The main one, the center one, is analogous to gallbladder 30. It is on the liver channel instead of the gallbladder channel. It is on the center aspect, the medial aspect of the leg. So if you take the hip and the knee and you go right to like the middle point between, and you go take the top and the bottom of the leg and then you go right to the middle, that's point number 1 of MingHuang. 2 sun above that, 2/3 of a hand breadth, if you don't know what a sun is superior to that. So towards the hip is the second point, and then the third point is 2 sun below. So those 3 points on the liver channel are called MingHuang. Bright yellow points is what it means in English, because they can treat jaundice because they're on the liver channel. I use these diagnostically all the time because I find that when patients have really high emotional stress, liver Qi stagnation, then these points tend to be very tender, and I believe that they're tender because when people's blood flow changes depending on their emotional states or on their physical state. If you eat a big meal, you get really sleepy because all the blood's going to your stomach. If you have a big fright, you feel like all the blood goes in your muscles. You're ready to run. The autonomic nervous system closes and opens all of these sphincter muscles around the blood vessels, and then the heart pumps, and then depending on which ones are open and closed, the blood flows in different patterns through your body. So my experience is that when people are under high stress, the blood flow that goes through the liver channel gets partially cut off and impeded, and you'll find that the points, these MingHuang points on the inside of the thigh on the liver channel are really tender and painful to touch. And sometimes they even feel really sharp, like weirdly sharp. And I use that diagnostically to check liver Qi stagnation, also to check if my treatments are working. So let's say if someone comes with a lot of stress and I'll use like a 4-gauge treatment on them or something, I'll check MingHuang after 10 minutes and make sure that it doesn't hurt anymore when I touch it. And if it doesn't hurt, that means the blood flow came down, the person's relaxed, the treatment's going well. If it's not, I'm going to have to do more things to treat it. And sometimes I even just do acupressure. I do acupuncture on those points a lot. They're some of my favorite points. They also treat kyphosis, which is great to know, but early stage kyphosis. But I also a lot of times do acupressure on those points, where maybe I'll do something like, if a person is having like really high emotional stress, I'll do something like 4 gates or liver 3, pericardium 6, or liver 3, liver 8, pericardium 6. And then I will press on the MingHuang points and hold them and until they're like a 7 out of 10 in pain. And the patient's like, stop. And I say, no, I don't want to. And they say, okay, fine. And I hold it for like 2 or 3 minutes. And after about like 2 to 5 minutes, you feel under your fingers, like the blood vessels start to jump and like spasm. And I'm like, oh, now your pain's down to a 4. And like, how did you know that? And it's like, well, I've done this for like 100 or a couple hundred people. So, maybe more than that now. I don't know. And then I wait until the pain goes down to like a 2 out of 10. And then when you repalpate it later, the pain is gone. And it's really effective when you have these really stubborn liver qi stagnation cases and people who just can't calm down. Adding acupressure to MingHuang and holding it until the pain goes away, it's like really effective. So there's a clinical gem number 1. So with this woman with a knee pain, I noticed these MingHuang points were really painful. I thought, I wonder if her knee pain is also coming from blood vessels being closed all the way down the line to the knee. And so I just did liver 3, liver 8, pericardium 6, and pericardium 6 is also great for knee pain. Why? Because the pericardium is a hand Zhuiyin channel, treats the foot Zhuiyin channel. That's the liver channel. And the liver channel goes through the knee. And pericardium 6 is between 2 tendons. Use tendons points. Chinese medicine logic, use tendons to treat tendons on the appropriate channel. And so using a point on the hand Zhuiyin channel that's in between 2 tendons treats tendon issues on the foot Zhuiyin channel. And there's a lot of tendon in the knee that have problems. So pericardium 6 is also just a great knee pain point, especially paired with liver 3, which acts as a guide point because it's a shoe stream point, which the classics say is good for pain that comes and goes, good for aching pain, and also guides the effect of other points into that channel. So liver 3, liver 8, liver and pericardium 6, and then I did this trick of acupressure on MingHuang for like 3 or 4 minutes until her pain went away. And then when I repalpated her knees afterwards, she's like, oh wow, my knees don't hurt at all. And let her go for like a half hour. Took the points out, and she got up and she's like, oh my gosh, I can walk, I can crawl, I have no knee pain at all. And it was literally just caused by blood flow obstruction from her emotional stress. So if you see such a pattern in the clinic, try this trick out. I've seen it work, this case, other cases, really well. MingHuang from Master Dong Point, MingHuang. I should just write in the show notes so I don't have to spell it. Fantastic acupuncture point if you don't use it. Thank you for listening to the 3rd episode of this podcast called an episode, the 3rd podcast-isode of what we call Acupuncture Storytime. And I hope that this was helpful to you. Have a fantastic day.